Okay, well, finally, we got the protests happening. And one protest took place here in Chicago. And as someone who's covered them for the last 4 years under Donald Trump, been there, done that, seen it before. But the meltdowns are happening because Donald Trump got elected. And here's the thing, the internet is a wonderful tool, but it's not your therapist. And the internet is forever. So whatever you post up there, it is going to last ad infinitum. It is going to be there for eternity. And I understand why people are triggered and upset about Donald Trump. I get it. I understand it. But the election is over now. All right. And there's a lot of reasons why that man got elected. And there's a lot of reasons why the Democrats failed. This is a system that is not perfect. But you have to move on with your life. There's been a lot of tragedies and disasters that have impacted me. But the one thing I'm not going to do is let politics live rent-free in my head. And there's a lot of videos out there. So, yes, it's okay to laugh. A lot of these people are being crazy and stupid, but it tells me that definitely there is a mental health issue, and the internet doesn't help out. And the internet, TikTok, Instagram, it's not your therapist. Some of these things are kind of best said maybe in private or with a medical professional. But nonetheless, let's start with the HoFest protests. That's right, the HoFest protests. That's right, all these protests that are happening now. Boy, oh boy. And for anyone who's wondering, gee, Kit, how come you didn't cover this one? Well, it's because I've been through so many of them before. It's like, no. And not to mention, it was cold outside, and my family just flew in. And let's just say I was on Operation OFP, own freaking program. So saw all these protests 8 years ago. Weak sauce and irrelevant. We're going to have 4 years of this crap in Chicago. And again, look, Trump Tower is a private building. It has Trump's name on it. That's what he does to all of his buildings. But I remember asking these protesters way early on when Harlan's Media got started 7 years ago. Me and Daniel asked this question. Are you going to have the same kind of energy towards these offices here in downtown Chicago, like to the mayor's office or to the senator's office or to any of the other politicians? Because Trump Tower, it is not the headquarters where Trump is going to be at. So this is going to be happening. If and when I choose to cover one of these protests, just remember, it's all the same and boring.
All that system stands for! All that system stands for!
Where were you the last 4 years? And this is my warning that I want to say to a lot of the anti-war group people out there, a lot of these activists and organizers who've been protesting since then, right? Be careful of all these LARPers coming out here. Be careful of all these fake activists coming out there because they're going to be focusing only on Trump. And I get that Trump's a bad guy. I get it. All these politicians are bad guys. All of them are. But if you're going to make it him your focus, it's going to dilute everything. And this was something I got from a message from a viewer, all right, who tagged me in this. Harlan's Media, they have nothing, Kit. Now I feel like the pro-Palestinian protests are going to be irrelevant. They're going to Trump Tower when Trump's not even there. Absolutely. And of course, there's more of it. Hang on, folks. When you've seen one, you've seen them all. I swear, man, they better not ruin my entire holiday. When I mean holiday, I mean November and December. Obviously, it's going to be the Christmas holiday and everything else. But all these protests are going to be happening. Wow, you guys came out of nowhere. Where have you been?
Racist, sexist, anti-gay. Donald Trump, go away. Racist, sexist, anti-gay. Donald Trump, go away.
You know what I'm in town. Donald Trump, you fascist clown. You know what I'm in town.
So there's another protest that's happening. And let me go ahead and be clear on this one here. So let's continue on. So, of course, with all this madness that is happening, we are now witnessing progressive forces vow unprecedented resistance to Trump in 2020, or 2024. So here is the resistance again. As voters across the United States grapple on Wednesday with the result of the presidential election, progressive organizers expressed disappointment and devastation, but they said they are clear-eyed about the road ahead, one that will require solidarity and major mobilization to counter the policies and attacks put forward by President-elect Donald Trump. So there you go. However, why this is happening, again, it's because the Democrats failed miserably. Anthony D. Romero, executive director of the ACLU, did not mince words about the clear and present danger Trump poses to U.S. institutions and democratic norms, noting that the GOP president-elect is dead serious about targeting the enemy within, which for Trump means anyone who disagrees with him. The ACLU fully expects Trump to seek retribution against his political opponents in deploying federal law enforcement to shut down protests and muzzle dissent. Well, there was protest taking place, and everyone was allowed to protest, and they're going to be allowed to protest. That's what's going to happen. It happened the 4 years under Trump, and as we have seen firsthand, never forget what former head of CBS executive once said, Nunez once said, what Donald Trump is saying is bad for America, but it's good for CBS. It's good for the views. And of course, I made this prediction that the activist industrial complex, the social justice warrior industrial complex, is going to be mobilizing with full action now. Not excited about it. And I'm really not excited about the fact that we're going to probably be seeing a lot of traffic, a lot of disasters, and so much more stupidity. But this is where we're at. Continuing on further, Trump 2.0 is going to get twice the fight from the protectors of our planet, wildlife, and basic human rights, said Kira Suckling, executive director of CBD. We've battled Trump from the border wall to the Arctic wild refugee, and in many cases, we've won. This country's bedrock environmental law stands strong. We're more prepared than ever to block the disastrous Trump policies we know are coming. Romero and Suckling's defined tones were echoed by reproductive rights organizations that have spent the past 2 years fighting the nationwide effectiveness of Trump's first term, which resulted in the right-wing supermajority of the United States Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade, clearing the way for 21 states to impose abortion bans and extreme restrictions that have deadly consequences for at least 4 women. Despite those bans, said Destiny Lopez, acting CEO of the Governmental Institute, more than 1 million abortions occurred in the United States in 2023. But see, there's a lot of unhinged behavior that's happening here, okay? And look, I don't want to laugh at people who are overreacting, but we have to be serious here. You can't let this election live rent-free in your head. You can't. You just can't.
If you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands. If you've lost faith in humanity, and this is your villain origin story, if you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands.
I'm trying not to be mean here. I'm really not. I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't want to be a bad guy here, okay? Don't make me be a bad guy. But also, it's the actions of people who are just going insane. This is a derangement syndrome in which you're letting politics live rent-free in your head. And look, I shared this story before. I had a friend in 2016 who sent me a very insensitive article about the rise of the KKK when I was just telling people that, hey, there's a 50-50 chance that Donald Trump can win this. And I meant no disrespect to anybody. But it's quite clear, if you're going to be looking at politics, you have to look at the ground game. You have to look at the infrastructure. You have to look at financing. You have to look at how the media is presenting everything. But you know what I did? Here's the thing. My friend then apologized to me. You know what I did? I embraced them back and I forgave them. Like it's what adults do. You can't let politics control you. You can't let it live in your head 24/7. And this should serve as a warning too, especially to a lot of people who are protesting, or if you're starting doing it now. Keep a close eye on what your leadership is asking you what to do. See how many times they're going to tell you to form downtown Chicago, especially I'm reaching out to my Chicago people. How many times are you going to form up somewhere in downtown Chicago and then march in front of Trump Tower? Are you going to bring that same kind of energy to all these other politicians, both Democrat and Republican? Or is it just always marching to Trump Tower because that's his name? Let's be clear about this.
Just woke up this morning feeling spicy. You guys feel spicy? Because I do. All right. I don't know how to use this thing. Let's see what happens. Is this cutting off hair? I'm going to have to cut it shorter than that. That's it down, right? I think that this is too... it's getting hair. Let's see here. Maybe I got to cut it. Here we go. Have I given up on America? Yeah. I've also given up on coloring this hair because, right? Fuck coloring my hair. Fuck having my hair be long and luxurious. Fuck all that shit. Fuck being skinny. Fuck being hot. Fuck being all the things that the patriarchy wants us to be.
It goes on like this as she's cutting her hair, but it gets worse. It gets a hell of a lot worse. Okay, and there is an illness, and I'm very sorry, folks. All right, again, the internet is forever. Go see a therapist. TikTok is not your therapist.
What the fuck? Bitch! You fuck!
It gets worse. I know. Hold on. A little bit. All right. Now, I did laugh at this. I should not. I shouldn't.
Hope your day gets better.
Shut the fuck up!
Positive energy.
Shut up!
Oh,
You don't understand English!
Now, right here, don't take your advice from anybody on TikTok, okay? Because listen, there's a lot of crazy people on Instagram. Instagram's fake. TikTok is a madhouse. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, is a cesspool. Do not get financial or emotional or relationship advice.
Have been seriously considering divorcing their husband. There's a lot of big conversations happening now that we have the results of the election, one of them being no-fault divorce. That is a type of divorce that allows you to end your marriage without needing to prove that anyone
Now, Ashura, you are correct. Some of this has to be acting. Yeah, some of it is, but some of it isn't.
is at fault. Some lawmakers are looking to abolish that, which is going to make you divorcing your husband a lot harder. So here's what that potential change could mean for you. You're going to have to prove that your husband did something wrong, which can be even more expensive, emotionally draining, and time consuming. Legal battles over fault can keep you in an endless and very expensive fight. Removing no-fault divorce could mean higher conflict in court, which is certainly not ideal for your kids or you. Without no-fault divorce, you lose the freedom to decide when to leave your marriage. Your private decision could be left up to someone else's idea of what's right. So if you're unhappy in your marriage, now might be the time to act.
Listen, again, don't get marriage advice. And then this right here, this really, I'm angry at this. And then and at the same time as well, I'm wondering just how bad is Trump derangement syndrome?
Harris did not win.
Who won?
Trump. So
Now the thing is, yes, politics, it should be discussed and at every age, okay? I think it should be. But there's points to where you can't turn somebody into the boogeyman. All right? Because I've said this before. It's easy to point at Trump and call him the mustache twirling villain, but there are politicians who have been currently serving in Congress and the US Senate, who are far more evil and have done far more devious things. We have had politicians doing insider trading. We have politicians who have contributed to this neoliberal nightmare. We have politicians who are just not good people, but have perfected their mask in hiding in open public. This is a sickness.
Take a breath.
yeah. So today may look a little different at school. Okay, there are probably going to be friends who have questions, right? I'm sure your teachers are going to, I think, we currently are in a country where we get to choose, right? And people have different priorities, they have different values. Some people hear what he has to say and they don't believe him, and some people hear what he has to say and they believe him and they agree with him. So today's probably, your school day is probably going to look pretty normal. Okay, your teachers are going to do a really great job of, you know, if you have questions throughout the day or if you have big feelings throughout the day.
Do you like these?
I'm very sad.
Oh, it's been full display. We're going to have 4 years of this. First of all, if you got money, invest in antidepressants, wine, and those therapy websites that you're seeing being posted on YouTube. You might make a financial killing. All right. But then again, don't take my advice. Please don't take my advice. But I mean, my goodness, come on, grow up. Do I have to use my favorite Logan Roy quote that he said to his kids in the fourth season of Succession? Look, Democrats, I get it, but you had a terrible campaign. You should have had an open primary. Biden should have been a one-term president. Kamala should not have been the nominee. You should have had a robust primary. But what is a robust primary when the 2016 and 2020 primaries were an absolute crap show? When it was abundantly clear that DNC was committing election fraud, not to mention that DNC has super delegates. But hey, you should have had a robust primary. Should have been, should have been, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I gave this warning way back in 2020. I remember saying to the Democrats, to a lot of people who I like, hey, you better hope that Biden pulls through. You better hope that things are going to be working out. And you better hope that Donald Trump doesn't run again. But I knew that he was and that he was coming back. Now, you got to grow up. I love you, but you are not serious people. So I want to pull this up here too. Because the manic and insanity, it's spreading all over. Am I laughing at this one? Yes. Yes, I am.
One thing I'll just get a little emotional about is it does, as a woman, feel pretty shitty. I feel like the humanity of women and their rights, no one cares. And even in the face of Trump and everything that he represented, that's a tough pill to swallow. One thing I'll just get a little emotional.
Then don't invest in a political party that gives you platitudes. Okay? The Republican Party is no different. Both parties are one and the same. George Carlin said it best. They don't give a crap about you. They don't like you. Both parties are friends with each other. They're friends with each other. They're friends. They're friends. They're friends. Okay? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton knew Donald Trump long before he got into politics and long before even Hillary ran for U.S. Senate. They knew each other. They knew who they were. Having a relationship like that, you just can't be like, oh, jolly gee willikers. I never knew that this person was like it. You knew him for decades. You knew him for decades. You can't be shocked. So this is all fake. They're friends. Hillary Clinton used to be a Goldwater girl. Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. And never forget what he said in his 2016 primary when money in politics was brought up. I give these people money. They do what I say. He sure as hell gave money to Democrats. He sure as hell gave money to Republicans. So everyone right now protesting, my personal opinion, it's going to dilute everything that people were protesting during the 4 years under Biden. And it's all going to be act. It's all going to be theatrics. And especially in Chicago, I just know how it's going to play out. And if I'm wrong about it, I'll apologize. I'll apologize to everybody. I will. But I know they're going to form up downtown Chicago and march to Trump Tower. And then that's it. They're going to be there. Everyone's going to be doing slogans, calling him a fascist and everything else. But when you call people names, because the same thing too, Republicans are calling Democrats communists. It's being used as a slur. Communism and fascism are political ideologies and definitions. Everyone needs to grow up for a second and breathe in and breathe out. There's still a system of rules. And so long as people are at least active and vigilant, you just can't go to sleep. You can never go to sleep, even if your side wins. It's called holding people accountable. We used to do that. But for using the internet as a way to emote your feelings, and then also spread that panic out there. Yeah, I'm concerned about the future. I am. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't. But I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody to be afraid. You do not have to be afraid. Be brave, be strong, be vigilant. Be involved in politics. Know the rules and regulations in your state. Be actively involved in politics. Be actively involved in your community. Because someday Donald Trump, his 4 years, boom, up and over. Then we got the next thing to worry about and the next thing to worry about. And that's not being mature. That's not being a reasonable adult. It's called being a panicked child. We're better than that.
SWAT team took your neighbor today. Watched them as they walked him away. You told yourself extremists come in all different shapes. Met his eyes and lowered your gaze. Is it too late for us to ever change? We are collecting the dust of better days. They're always watching us, but we're never safe. We're not meant to be safe, not meant to escape. We aren't meant to wake. Sheriff stopped your daughter today. Pepper sprayed her twice in the face. He must have had good reason if he'd treat her that way. At least that's what they've taught you to say. But is it too late for us to ever change? Once we're collecting the dust of better days, and they're always watching us, but we're never safe. We're not meant to feel safe, not meant to escape. We aren't meant to wake. Feds arrived and had you detained. Said you'd made some posts they want changed. Tased you till you felt like you'd forgotten your name, or life before they had you contained. Oh, life before they had you contained. SWAT team took your neighbor today.